Today on Fish Den 365, we're going to show you a simple rig and a simple fishing technique that is extremely effective for catching bass. Largemouth, smallmouth, big and small. It'll also catch crappie, perch, bluegill, walleye, trout, you name it. It will catch everything. And we're going to show it to you right now. Hey bass fanatics, I'm Den Haring. I'd like to show you my simple rig for catching tons of fish, both big and small. And it involves fishing Fluke style lures. So let me show you what's in my Fluke box, and then we'll get into the rigging and the technique for catching the fish. Okay, so here's my Fluke box. You can see I have a number of different baits in here, including the Zoom Super Fluke. We have some Zoom Super Fluke Juniors. We have some Yamamoto D shads. We have the Yum Houdini shad. We have finesse fish. This is made by Lunker City. And we also have Lunker City Sluggo. So you can see we have a variety of baits here and a number of different sizes of the baits. Now, I like fishing this rig with all different sizes. But when we're fishing very clear water and rivers, for example, I'll go with a smaller size. So I will use something like this size Zoom Super Fluke Junior. And the reason why I prefer the Super Fluke Junior is because of this extra belly material, a little extra plastic. The profile is still a small bait fish profile, but because of that extra plastic, I can throw it a lot farther on light line. This technique is more of a finesse technique. I usually throw it on 8-pound test. Sometimes I'll go down as low as 6-pound test. So let me show you the rigging, and then we'll talk about the technique and demonstrate its effectiveness. So what you want to do is get one of these screw lock devices. Let me show this to you in the palm of my hand. Hopefully you'll be able to see that quite clearly. And we want to take the screw lock device and just screw it into the nose of our bait. I have here a smaller screw lock for smaller size baits. And what you want to do is, so we'll put links to all the items that we're talking about in the description of the video. So what you want to do is you take your Fluke and then you just insert this screw lock by screwing it right into the nose of the bait as straight as possible. And we're actually going to put it in so that the whole entire piece is inserted pretty far into the nose of the bait. I'm actually going to screw it one more time in there. And then we're going to take our hook and go through the plastic of the bait. Turn this a little bit more. So we're going to take it through the plastic of the bait and through the opening of that screw lock. So now you cannot pull it out of the bait. You can see I'm pulling very hard here and it's in there. And so what this does is, you can put the hook just through the nose of a Fluke, just like that, and that would be fine. That'll work the same way. But by putting this screw lock part in here, now you can use this Fluke multiple times. You can catch multiple fish on this Fluke without losing the lure or without damaging the lure, because the hook is going to hook the fish, and it'll keep your Fluke right in place. And so you can just re-rig if you need to, and you could use the same Fluke multiple times, and this will save a lot of money. Now the nice thing about these Fluke style baits is they're very cheap. Zoom Super Fluke or Super Fluke Junior are cheap for a bag of, for a 10-pack of a Zoom Super Fluke or Super Fluke Junior. It's not much money at all, just a couple of bucks, and then you could reuse the bait multiple times by rigging it this way, by putting that screw eye piece in there. And so now you on light line you can throw this bait out there and just allow it to sink slowly and then work it slowly, or you can work it fast or somewhere in between. the key to catching fish is to find the action that they want. Sometimes I'll throw it out there and I'll just be jerking it just like you would fish any jerk bait on the surface of the water so that it looks like it's skittering and scattering and trying to get away from prey fish. And then oftentimes the fish will blow up on it when you're doing that, or as soon as you kill it, they'll come up and blow up on it. And that was the way we were fishing it when we were on the Delaware River for smallmouths. You can see I was fishing it quite fast. So we'll show you that and show you how effective it is on smallmouth and largemouth bass in the following videos. Now the same presentation works just as well on the larger size Super Fluke or any of these others that are in this box that we went through earlier, and you could fish it the same way.
So when you're fishing heavy cover, like fallen trees or thick matted vegetation, you're going to want to use a Texas rig with your fluke, where you can either Texpose the hook or just slightly bury the hook in the plastic so that you're not going to be hooking onto the branches or the weeds. But when you have more open water, try this technique with the fluke, this nose hooking technique on lighter line. It's a more finesse presentation. You're using lighter line, a smaller hook, and it gives this bait a more realistic action in the water. You'll get more bites rigging it this way. And you might be wondering about this small finesse hook. Well, how well is that going to hook fish? Especially since you're just hooking it through a small part of the bait at the head. But what we've found is that when you're throwing the fluke this way, almost all of the bites are attacking the head. In fact, if you get onto the Tactical Bassin channel and look up their fluke videos, they actually have underwater videos where the bass are attacking the head of the bait in almost every single time. And their hookup ratio was very good. And I found that my hookup ratio, hook to land ratio, was excellent with this rig. They end up grabbing it and getting this head of the bait pretty far deep in their mouth, or the hook will be right into the roof of the mouth many times. So as long as you have the right equipment, the right action spinning rod, you can throw this a good distance. And once you hook the fish up, you just fight the fish until you can land them. Excellent approach, excellent technique. As far as colors go, this white, pearl white is always a good color. If you have shad or alewives, this color here, I think it's called smoking shad for the Zoom product, is a very good color. When the water's a little more stained, I like this baby bass type color. This works very well. And a good all-around color, this is a real tiny bait here, a real small one, is called Arkansas Shiner. This is the finesse fish. That's a good all-around color also. So color is just something that has to be experimented with. Quite honestly, oftentimes color doesn't matter all that much. Sometimes it does, especially when the fish are locked into eating a certain type of bait fish, whether that is bluegill or shad. You just want to match the hatch as best you can. But every now and then you want to throw something very loud and gaudy, like a bubble gum or a marmalade, a real bright pink or a real bright orange. Sometimes, and you have to experiment with this, the fish go crazy over that, especially smallmouth bass. Smallmouths are very curious, and sometimes they can be very aggressive, and they'll just go after that strange colored bait like nothing else. So it's always good to have a few of those in your box ready to go. So if you haven't tried this type of rig it up like this, throw it out there, use your jerk bait retrieve, and I promise you it will catch fish. It is a great fish catcher, and it's a lot of fun to fish. Don't forget to check the description of this video for all of the products that we were using, the type of hook and the flukes themselves. I'm Den Haring for Fish Den 365. My channel is all about the art and science of fishing, especially bass fishing. We're certified Bassified. Hey, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, comment, share with your friends, and may God bless your fishing endeavors.